The question is, how will we potentially integrate chiropractic care into the military? I think that's genuinely what the question is. And so you have to be somewhat visionary. First of all, the military, rightfully so, runs on a budget and runs on resources. And I lived in a time during the military where if you wanted to put a new person in the ranks, then a new skill set, then you couldn't grow the Army. So that means you had to decide that there was another skill set that wasn't needed, because that's emotional and that's difficult. So as we have transformed our Army into brigade combat teams, I think the potential exists out there that at some point when people start to realize what chiropractic care brings to the fight, that their combat value added, I think that there's potential that a chiropractor could be seen as someone who works side by side the brigade surgeon in the brigade combat team, because I think they'd make a great complement to the brigade surgeon. Now, I know we also have PT folks out there, and they bring another piece of this complement to the fight. But at the end of the day, I'm not as familiar with PT, so I can't talk about that. I am familiar with chiropractic, and I think so. For me, the strong suit is chiropractic. Now, would that be a uniformed person? Big picture, big vision. Depending on what the military does. And I only gave an Army example because I'm Army, but I'm talking really this could be across all services, and it should be across all services. To be a uniformed doctor, I think that's much further down the road. I think anywhere we see a chiropractor in the near future is going to be a contract chiropractor, because again, it brings a whole new set of challenges when you put a uniform on someone. They either replace a skill set that's already there, because you can't grow the Army or grow the military. If anything, our military is probably going to be reduced after the war. I mean, that's what you read in the papers anyhow, so you never know. It's not unusual after a conflict to reduce, because we normally stand up for the conflict. So to be a uniformed doctor, I think is much further down the road. But I think the potential exists. And again, I think the potential exists because I believe in the potential of chiropractic. But it's going to take proving our performance in that arena and measuring it against readiness and performance of our soldiers and airmen and Coast Guardsmen. It's going to take some metrics to prove that this is combat value added, and so we should go to actually making it a uniformed person. Because once you go uniformed person, you now have to have a branch, a school, it's a lot more resources. But at the end of the day, let's get the contract chiropractors out there now and start showing the capability and having a much more ready force to continue in the fight.